Is Stugotz okay?
It would seem not.
Like, I want to start the show before we get to Messi showing up in what is, I guess, debatably Miami. Before we get to all of the stuff with Dan Snyder and the knives out aspect of who fired John Gruden and why. I want to start with how the show ended out of Tahoe yesterday. Because who wants to summarize what Stugotz did for those who maybe missed the postgame yesterday?
Stugotz, as I understand it, talked to country music star Jake Owens for 20 minutes, thinking it was Aaron Rodgers, then found out afterwards that it was not Aaron Rodgers, and now is living in shame. But he thought that this man was the quarterback of the Jets, future Hall of Famer, Super Bowl MVP Aaron Rodgers, and it was not.
He's living in shame? Somebody who's that shameless is living in shame, huh?
That's a good point. He didn't seem that ashamed, I have to say. I listened to the postgame, and he seemed to be handling it too well.
He always wins. Like, this is a perfect example. It's incredibly embarrassing, but it's the thing we're going to talk about for years. And he's incredible. It's why we love him. Thank you, Stugotz. And in his defense, can we pull up a picture of the Jake Owen that he saw? It looked like Aaron Rodgers.
There is no defense.
So,
granted, there's a height difference, but I'm telling you, like, I get it.
I mean, look,
80 pounds and 8 inches. Other than that, they're dead ringers.
It's not 8 inches.
If you were standing in the end zone and in the other end zone was Jake Owen, I could imagine confusing him.
Okay,
the front-facing picture is close, though.
I think from straight on, I do see the resemblance. It's a mistake I personally would never make. It's not just the face; it's also the voice, the height, the build, the fact that we've seen Aaron Rodgers on TV for over a decade. I don't know how Stugotz did this.
The best part is that the way I understand it is it was an off-air with Marty Fish, Jake Owen, and Stugotz talked for 20 minutes. At which point, afterwards, Marty Fish told Mike, hey, Stugotz thought. So, like, there was conversation going on.
About the Jets.
That's what I mean. Like, I wish I could listen to that conversation because there had to be things being said that made it painfully obvious that this wasn't Aaron Rodgers.
I think he went along with it, which respect and credit to Jake Owen. He has a new fan today. It's me.
Check out God Bless Football. Check out all of yesterday. If you don't know what we're talking about, check it out because it seems good.
A lot in Tahoe. I just want to open up the kimono a little bit and explain that when Mike texted me and David the day before yesterday, we have this amazing thing, Stugotz going maximum Stugotz. He talked to Aaron Rodgers for 20 minutes, except he did not realize it was country music star Jake Owen. David's response was, this is obviously a bit. Like, there is no way that this actually authentically happened.
And Mike, to his credit, stuck with it by telling Pablo and me, no, not a bit.
Are you still skeptical?
1,000%.
This is not a bit. This is too humiliating to be a bit.
It can't not be too many negatives. It has to be a bit because, hey, I've been here 3 weeks. Stugotz has been in the chair 2 days.
Lucy's never met him.
I have no idea who he is. I don't know if I'll ever meet him.
He might not exist.
Can we get a counter going? Can the video
of the amount of drugs he's done the last 3 weeks?
2 columns.
3 weeks.
1 amount of narcotics Stugotz has been ingesting. 2nd column, days Lucy Rodin, new Meadowlark employee, has gone without meeting Stugotz.
Stugotz is like the guy on the airplane. He's not real. He's not real.
I love, but
he's real.
It is,
and he's spectacular.
I don't
However,
know.
In a way, it's the best introduction to Stugotz that Lucy could receive is the fact that he is not here, that he is, in fact, making a farce of his cognitive abilities.
I don't want to blow the bit, but Mike stuck to it in a way that surprised me. And I said to Mike, I want to feel part of this group.
No, David was pleading, like, please tell me the truth. I want to be in on the inside joke.
Wait. So David thinks we're all pulling a prank
Correct.
on him?
Well,
and are we in on it or no?
Mike did not mention anybody,
Okay.
but it was a text to me
I
and Pablo making sure that we
tried
were teasing
to
it properly.
explain to David, this is actually who Stugotz is.
David,
That's the
we're
point.
not organized enough to pull pranks on people at this scale and magnitude. Yeah. You should know this by now.
I do, except I can't imagine someone in Tahoe where there are celebrities everywhere. They are being paid to work there and provide content. And Stugotz, a purported Jets fan, It's
who
his
has
team.
interviewed Aaron Rodgers before.
Directly, the actual Aaron Rodgers
Yes.
does a 20-minute bit where he has no idea who it is.
He thought Alfonso Ribeiro was Larry Fitzgerald last year. Like, I'm telling you, we were talking about a dumb man.
There's precedent.
He did also mistake, I believe, Tony Collins for Cassidy Hubbarth.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, David,
This
I get
is
it.
Aaron Rodgers.
You're right. In theory, Stugotz is a Jets fan. Like, I get it. In theory, this is ridiculous, but it's not. Like, I wouldn't put it past him. This is true. Stugotz is a maniac.
Maniac is not the adjective I used to Pablo when I was describing. Once Pablo convinced me that this was actual, I was concerned about it because
We're all concerned. Well,
No,
the number one
that
thought
was
when
the
I
question
saw
I
the
started the
post-game
show with.
was I am concerned for this man. We all have joked about the fact that Stugotz hasn't watched sports in 5 years, right? But this goes
Other
beyond that. Aaron Rodgers has been in the league far too long for that to be an excuse.
if this were a cornerback, like a sort of a player on the Jets, a third stringer,
If it was Francisco Lindor, another person he has famously not
Jalen
known
Brunson.
about, yes, any of these
I'm
people.
good with all that, actually.
I am not going to demand that he goes into the blue tent of sports media, but we should check this dude out. Yes.
Follow my fingers here for a second. Are you good, buddy? Hold on, let me look.
I don't think
Turn on the
he's good,
flashlight,
buddy.
See what's in there.
I don't think he's good.
It's Tahoe, buddy. That's what he would say. He just kind of flicks his fingers like Tahoe, buddy. You know how it is.
you mean because of the altitude?
No.
Like, does he have altitude?
the altitude, but a
Nevada.
different way.
It's like I keep wanting to defend Stugotz and be like, look, I'm looking at this picture. It looks like Aaron Rodgers, but he was in a 20-minute conversation. Like, if it was just a picture and he thought it was him by look, it's a reasonable mistake. Look, that looks like Aaron Rodgers. But he spoke to him for 20 minutes.
And he touched him.
This is
He
insane.
touched his tummy.
Also, Jake Owen, country singer, he would have an accent.
That's true. But Aaron Rodgers also does change his voice.
Aaron Rodgers does cosplay as a real American all of the time.
Remember that one post-game interview where
My
he
knee!
suddenly was Brian Kelly at his LSU introduction?
My knee! God.
This is what we're showing Stu
plot
now
thickens.
on the YouTube channel.
So
at Le Batard
the
Show.
other thing about Tahoe, of course, is that this is an assignment. Chris, this is your assignment.
Yeah, this is where I should be. Jess and I honestly should be there. We're the golfers in the group. What Mike and Jeremy are going to do to this show today, because it's Thursday.
An
and
abomination.
They're playing in the Pro-Am today. So it's the tournament before the tournament where all the sponsors, people that aren't celebrities but are involved with this can play with the celebrities. And we get to play every year, and there are not bad golfers out there. People, like, if you're going to Tahoe to play in this tournament, you can play. You might not be good, and Mike Ryan and Jeremy are not good.
Where do they rank? Where do Mike Ryan and Jeremy Taché rank in this field?
I've never seen Jeremy play. He says he's terrible. I know Mike Ryan is the worst golfer out there.
I think here is here is a way to look at it. So they're playing a scramble, right? If you're in a scramble and you belong there, you should be using not every shot, but at least
one.
if you're not the best golfer, 10% of your shots, I think is fair.
Mike will be excited if they use one.
For Mike and Jeremy, they may use 0.
Yeah.
Well, they may use. I'm thinking the short game.
I feel bad for Adam
No.
Thielen.
I was going to say, who are they
even
playing
harder.
with?
I think they're playing with Adam Thielen, and they're very quickly, he's going to be like, who's playing with me? Like, why are they in
Adam
this
Thielen's
tournament?
just playing his own round of
How
golf.
did
They're just hitting
NFL
all of his shots.
Pro Bowl wide receiver Adam Thielen get drafted into that specific threesome?
I think it was supposed to be Marty Fish because he's friends with our show, but I think because of I don't know why he's not playing in the Pro-Am anymore, so he had to pull out. So I guess Adam Thielen is moving in. Who's on I have a fantasy team, by the way. Me, Mike, and our golf group chat, we did a draft of all the celebrities. I took Thielen first overall. I had the 10th pick. He came in 4th last year, so I drafted him.
That's like wanting to be
Good
Taylor
value.
Swift. He's not a first overall draft pick.
Well, he's good at
I
golf.
mean-
I'm talking about in this realm.
Football players who are good at
Yeah,
golf.
he came in
Yeah.
4th
Oh,
last
sorry, I thought
year.
you meant the
So-
celebrities at Tahoe.
No,
I,
yeah.
I played in Golik's celebrity golf outing a couple weeks ago, and for the second year in a row, Kyle Rudolph
Looking
won
for
the
the
outing
sound.
because
Oh.
he can bomb the ball like 400 yards from the tee box because he's just huge. It doesn't even matter if it's like in a good spot or not. Like, he's on the green on like a par 5. It's insane. Like, he is so like. These football players are so strong and powerful. I don't know what the correlation is between being good at golf, but I trust that Adam Thielen's good at golf.
I tried to get in that, by the way.
When
Apparently, it's only for Notre Dame people. I was like Golick Jr.
I
I'm
don't
like,
think that's true.
like, oh well, I just didn't.
Chris, I got to say this, Jess, and I don't know if you ever contemplated this. Chris is plausibly someone who is a huge Notre Dame Fighting Irish fan.
Because he is a ginger.
Because he is the most leprechaunish
Irish?
person that I know.
Not as much as I look. There is some Irish in here, but not as much as I look fully Irish.
You know, Chris auditioning for the role of Lucky the Leprechaun. I feel like Chris would be pretty good at that role.
Are you body shaming?
You have
him?
to do a backflip. Can you do a
I'm
backflip?
doing the opposite, David. I'm saying that Chris, surprisingly athletic, fast Chris, is actually more acrobatic.
That's a varsity athlete spot at Notre Dame, by the way. Like, you're getting a letter, I believe.
I've seen that they do some impressive things. Like she said, backflip. Like I don't think I could be.
I think you have to be able to tumble.
Yeah.
I think you.
I could do a cartwheel. I did one yesterday.
I saw you
behind
do
Tony.
one. Yeah, I saw you do one on our,
and that was
our
just I
putt
just
for
pulled
your
that
life.
one out. Like I could do a much better one. That was
When you're drafting for this,
Yeah.
why would you not draft someone who you have fun with? Why are you worried about 400 yards?
okay.
Is this for
I
money?
think you're confused. We're drafting for the results in the main tournament.
This is a golf
I thought
group
drafting
chat
for who you
that
play with.
actually is talking about
I get what you
golf
thought.
in ways that are like sad to me.
You
but
thought we were
nonetheless.
drafting who we played with. No, we're drafting just for the results in the main tournament.
But do you have a say in who you play with? Does Mike Ryan have a say who he's playing with today?
We can kind of request. Like last year, we played with the Miz. It's basically if Marty Fish wants to play with us, we play with him, and if he can't play, they just give us somebody.
Wait, are you guys secretly happy when Marty Fish doesn't want to play with you?
No. Marty's really
a great
good.
guy.
You didn't
the
draft
first
him.
year we
You
played
didn't
with,
draft him number one.
and now you're confused. Well, he went early. I had the 10th pick. Marty was like the 3rd pick. We're confusing us playing and our fantasy thing. We need to just separate those two things.
The only thing that
Just
doesn't
like
confuse
Stugotz
me,
confused Jake Owen and Aaron
Yeah,
Rodgers.
see, it's easy sometimes.
I need you guys in Tahoe next year. That's the bottom
Agreed.
line.
Yeah.
Yes.
We need to switch out. We need to do a full hockey shift where everybody's off when the team's playing like crap. Have you ever seen a coach do that where everybody gets taken off? Wholesale changes.
Same time, yeah.
We're doing
Kentucky
wholesale
style.
changes in Tahoe because it's too embarrassing.
It is.
Ah, look at this. I know you can't. If you're listening to this, you can't see, but we're just seeing shots of Tahoe right now. I really want to be there. Stugotz is there.
Rich ass clock.
Look at that clock.
Like a Beauty and the Beast clock.
That is a wealthy man's clock.
Jeremy and Mike just embarrassing us as a show today. Look at, why do they have an inflatable couch? That
That looked kind of
surprised
fun,
me.
though.
It did look fun.
I'm guessing, like all things at this company, it started as a budgetary concern, then morphed into a deliberate bit.
Yep, we always win.
We will spare no expense.
God. So the embarrassing aspect of Tahoe, the embarrassing aspect of what Jess and Chris are pledging to do in replacement of Mike and Jeremy and Stugotz, I do want to understand better what we're dealing with with Stugotz, the golfer. Because I have never seen him golf, but he seems to be golfing all of the time.
Now, Stugotz, compared to someone who never golfs, is a good golfer because he can hit the ball. But for how much Stugotz golfs, he should be better. Like he in his group with Jeremy and Mike, he's going to look like a star. But he plays, I think, 4 or 5 days a week. Like I don't understand. He's not very good. He's as average as it gets, I would say.
Chris, but here's the thing. When you're a golfer that wants to go out and be good and play golf, then you get good at golf. When you're a guy who wants to go and vibe on the golf course, it's a different story. It doesn't matter if you're good or not. If you're out there for the vibes, you're out there for the scenery, you're out there for
drugs.
Other things.
You'd think you'd stumble into
yeah,
getting
like
a little better.
It would like kind of seep into your
Right.
game like through osmosis. Just being on the course, being able to take a few swings
It's
every
like the
now and then.
10,000 hours thing. Like, how many hours has he spent playing golf?
Yeah. Tragically, that has been pretty debunked.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
it has?
Or else
kind of a
Stugotz
fraud.
would be Tiger
Really?
Woods.
Yeah, the
I
10,000
reference
hours
the 10,000
rule.
hours thing a lot.
Yeah, it's
Malcolm
just-
Gladwell is a fraud.
It's like the one book I read.
Yeah, it's actually I believe it's actually in my hotel room, not because I put it there, but because it's the kind of book people
Yes.
put into hotel rooms.
That's a very this hotel vibe.
Yes.
Next to the
hotel room
Gideon's
book.
Bible.
love the Elser, love Gideon's Bible, dislike that book.
Do you open the Bible in a hotel room?
No.
Do you?
No. I don't even use. I've been here for this many weeks. I have not touched the remote control yet.
I feel like David has if the heat map of things that David touches in his room
De minimis.
is so constrained.
Do all rooms have Bibles still? You can get it online. What would be the reason to have an actual Bible in a room anymore?
To read it?
No, but you can read it online.
Yeah,
you gotta have
it's a fair question. I think it's like I remember either like J.W. Marriott or one of the founders of Marriott was very religious, so he put, I think he was Mormon, he put like the Book of Mormon in rooms or something, but I could be misremembering.
It is a
that.
good question, though. Why did they start putting Bibles in hotel rooms in the first place? Is it a missionary, like, sort of idea?
I always found it strange because there was never a Siddur. So when I would go to hotels, I'm like, well, where's the freedom of choice here in terms of religion? What if I want to do some praying? What are my choices?
You're saying there's a class action lawsuit that is just left on the table.
But there was no way to win that one.
Good luck with this Supreme Court.
Yeah. He said yes.
You want a drawer full of books.
I think
want
we should
no
just have
books.
Malcolm Gladwell books.
That's all it should be. It should all be self-help books and leadership books. I don't think you need Bibles in rooms. I actually really believe that. I don't think it's necessary to have a Bible in a room.
I concur. I think it's a little strange. I think it conflates a couple of ideas that I'm not sure. Anyway, I don't want to wander
What's
down
the
that road, but
What's the most obnoxious row in a bookstore?
ooh,
It's the self-help books.
I was just going to say, whenever I see that, like I always peruse them because, I like to improve me. But I always just am like, I don't want to be seen here. I don't know. It's just a weird vibe in that row.
that's kind of my issue with the Malcolm Gladwell books is that they become invariably like self-help books for like aspiring CEOs, and I'm like, this is kind of a little bit pseudoscientific.
We had to read those in school. It was like required reading.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we read Outliers in like my honors sociology class.
I read the tipping point in my sociology class, and look, he's done
Were you
very
in
good
honors
work.
like Jess?
Well, he went to Harvard, so
They were
everything's
all
honors
honors.
there.
There's no
I'm not sure
honors
if
where
you
he
heard
goes.
that.
I mean, come on, Chris. Come on. Who you talking to, buddy?
There is a great podcast, not to plug something not on the Meadowlark podcast network, but I will. It's called If Books Could Kill with Michael Hobbs and Peter Shamshiri, where they read airport books, like the books you find at the airport that...
John Grisham type books.
No, not... So more of like along the Malcolm Gladwell, Freakonomics, that sort of genre. Books that people will see and be like, that looks, really interesting. I'll read this on my flight. And it has some sort of like pop science aspect to it. And they debunk a lot of the ideas and theories in it. And it is such a good podcast. Highly recommend.
I always feel like an idiot when the person next to me is reading a book and I'm just like playing solitaire on my like screen.
I'm usually playing
like, tapping the
Monopoly,
button.
which is probably worse.
There is a big business now at airports that's happening. I just read an article about this because of all the delays that are happening at airports. So book sales are up, food is up, all the revenue in places because people are stuck at these airports for hours upon hours. And you go into the bookstore and bookstores are the one kind of store where you go in, it's aspirational. It's, I'm going to read this book. I'm going to get to this book. You buy it. You feel good about yourself. You start it. And I believe in what's the percentage of books that are finished that are bought in airport bookstores? Low. Because they're necessary buys, not
If the line
buys.
is 25%, I'd go under.
I would too. I like that market.
There is something about going to like a Barnes & Noble and just opening your laptop. It just makes you feel better than other people.
When was the last time you did that?
I've done it, but like honestly, I
Give me
have
a year.
Are we showing our age here? Because Lucy's in the back row. Like,
Hey, I have a Barnes & Noble gold card.
You run
so-
into the-
Oh,
Watch who you're talking to
shit.
here.
when I got laid off from ESPN, I had like a 2-day period where I was like, "What's next?" I just went to a coffee shop, opened a laptop, and just joined the stock market. I put money on TV. I just was like, I'm gonna become a stock. This is it. This is my future.
What stocks did you buy?
This was like around the pandemic. So like this is when the stock market, like my first 3 months on the stock market, I'm like, this is easy. I won like I made like almost
I won.
like I made like almost like I know
That's
it
the
feels like
perfect
gambling.
verb.
I
really
made almost
is.
like 20. Granted, we came back to even because
But did you make 20 grand? This is a great
Wait.
conversation that we've had with
David,
Mike Schur.
Chris is literally a retail investor. He is investing inside of a Barnes & Noble.
I'm
Brick and mortar.
I went up a lot, went down, and we're getting back to where we were.
So would you say?
We had last year was a rough year for everybody on the stock market.
I want this segment where David Sampson becomes Chris Cody's stock market
I do need
advisor.
it because a lot of times I'm just like Googling like what's a good stock.
Oh, God. You are a dream come true.
Chris
You
really getting
are.
into a Quora page or a Yahoo answer.
You know what I like to do? You take a company, their little letter thing, and you type into Google projections, and it tells you like where
Their
they
little
see
letter
it
thing.
going 10 years from now, or where's this bad boy going in 10 years?
This may be Darwin's theory
This is
of
amazing.
economics.
That's mean.
You can't.
You're suggesting that this is not the fittest?
I'm suggesting that maybe there's a better plan out there than Googling a ticker symbol, looking
I'm
at
not
the
saying I
direction
buy
of a
all the
graph.
ones I Google. I'm just saying that's part of my
He's
research.
doing his own research.
Do you get permission
Shout out
from
to
your
Aaron Rodgers.
wife before you do that?
No.
So do you have a separate
No, we have a
account?
joint account, but we also have some money that she knows is in TD Ameritrade, and I have free reign over that.
Okay. Just be aware.
I'm
that
telling you, it's
should
not.
anything
You guys
go
are thinking it's going
sideways,
bad. It's
you
going
may have
pretty
to
well. I'm a
repay.
Wait, does Chris Cody have any stock tips?
Stips? No, I don't
I think we need a disclaimer. If we're
Yeah,
gonna
I
go
was gonna
there.
say.
I don't
I
want
mean,
to end up like
Granted,
Tom Brady.
Remember, Mike Ryan was giving us all stock advice for a couple years, so it's not like we were
He
giving out
was?
plenty of bad.
Yeah, all that
Diamond
crypto.
hands.
Yeah.
Which names would you like me to put in the disclaimer? Because we can't just stop at Chris. I believe we need to talk. Stugotz's name needs to be in there. I believe that disclaimers should be read now, and this is a great addition to the show.
It really
Any
is.
advice given by Chris Cody Financial.
I
Stugotz.
stand by my advice to listen to the If Books Could Kill podcast, so you don't need to read one for me.
So
but
you
this
want
is very
off the
lawyerly
disclaimer.
of you, David.
You want off the disclaimer.
Yeah.
David,
I'm-
give me a stock
I'm
that's
okay.
gonna, give me the next big one.
I would like to talk to you about 30-year treasuries
Okay.
and the inversion of the yield curve.
Boring.
Honestly, I would take David's advice. I imagine.
Boring all you want.
Boring, Dave. Come on. Give me the hot stuff.
10-year
What do you
yield.
know
What
about
is
iBond?
whiter
How
than a
many-
30-year treasury?
Can we talk about the number of athletes who are invested in fixed income? Of every color, size, and age?
I don't make all my decisions. I have an Acorn account too.
So do I.
I
Dude, in
think
like
that-
60 years,
Dude,
I'm going to have like 80
I'm gonna be a
grand.
millionaire in 70 years. That's what it says. My projections.
Do you guys at Metalark have a pension?
I don't know.
Does anyone get pensions anymore? I mean, we have a 401k, but aren't pensions like a way of the past?
They have been phased out.
I think
over
I have
time.
stock options.
Do they put money into your 401k?
No, we don't have a 401k match here.
No match.
There's no match?
No match. Yep.
Not yet.
I'd like to work on that.
I would
That's-
like for you to work on that.
would
too.
I.
Yeah, get to
We
work,
all
sir, Dave.
would.
It
Pension.
doesn't have to be a 100% match, but there should
100% match would be
It
great.
should be like 200%.
Yeah.
Triple that sucker.
They match a contribution in our HSA up to $39. That's the most of any of the benefits we get. matched.
$39?
Yeah.
But unlimited vacation.
Hey.
You are being taken advantage of in a way that is staggeringly awesome.
Thanks,
Plus,
David.
Dave.
But I'm going to be helpful on this one.
Okay.
You got to do a match.
You're organizing the union.
Well, I think part of the union is I'm going to organize people not to unionize, but things that matter
careful.
more. I'd rather us not unionize but get a match. I'd rather have actual tangible financial benefits that you can have because then he can lose them in the stock market.
This kind of feels like a scam inside of a scam inside of a scam.
Don't
now.
break the law.
Scamception.
Okay.
So Barry Bonds is mad about not being in the Hall of Fame. Again, Leo Messi is showing up somewhere in the Miami area.
Flew into Fort Lauderdale.
We'll get to that. Lots of Dan Snyder stuff. But I just wanted to be very clear that when I'm laughing at Chris Cote for cosplaying as a stockbroker inside of a Barnes & Noble, when I'm laughing
It was a
at
coffee
that-
shop, actually.
Oh, apologies.
Yeah.
I am also somebody who consults David Sampson for actual counsel when it comes to matters of finance, because there really is it's an enormous gulf, David, between what Chris and me know, by the way, and you and people who know actual financial advice.
I'm happy to disclose that of our conversations while you were negotiating with Metalark, and all I can say is that what employers do is take advantage of employees who don't have information, and that's what the stock market is in large part. There are people who are watching or Googling. There's many of you out there, Chris. And
Well, Squawk Box Watchers? Well, that's a tough one to say. Squawk Box Watchers.
You tried to sound so good there.
What, Squawk Box Watchers?
You almost had. So at Morgan Stanley, there'd be TVs everywhere, and you're watching Maria Bartiromo back when before she became what she was. She started
Before
off
she was
as-
radicalized?
right before something. She was not that in the beginning.
No, she was allegedly the money honey.
That's how it started.
The money.
And they get up there. Jim Cramer is an example of someone. People watch him and then take.
My
their
father-in-law
money.
hates him.
I think there's been a sea change. I think people have turned on Jim Cramer. Yeah.
All I see on Twitter now is he'll say something, and then a day later, it's like whatever he said was going to happen, the opposite happened.
That's actually very effective, though.
Short
If
sellers.
you know who to fade and where to short, that's actually great information. But the whole concept of people getting advice, and there's analysts whose whole job is to figure out which way a company's going, what's built on nothing, what's the straw man, and then communicate to clients who then make investment decisions. And then retail started. And then Chris Cote was born. And the problem with retail is that you've got people like Chris who are making investment decisions with money they make that they've earned, and they wonder why they don't become millionaires because it seems easy, like going into a casino, and then they go bankrupt. And the companies profit, every one of them.
Gabe Plotkin, the founder, CIO of Melvin Capital. This is the GameStop guy, just bought the Hornets, the Charlotte Hornets, from Michael Jordan.
For multiple billion.
Yes, when we talk about finance, and I know it sounds like we're getting off topic from sports, as if we ever cared about the topic of sports, but the point is, this is actually how the people who run these teams, this is just one of the many edges they have in terms of amassing the fortunes.
What about
they have.
ESPY?
Right?
What do you think? How do you think
Mortgage
ESPY,
lender.
Right. Guess who he's lending money to? Chris Cote. And you think he's not profiting off the money that you are borrowing?
What do you guys want from me? I'm just a man out here trying to live. I will take your advice. I'm with Pablo. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't stick my neck out there. I'm not making
Chris,
life-changing investments.
I assure you that even the people who like to think they're not you are so much more like you than any of the people who are running sports. There is such a gap that CNBC and access to democratized financial projections and all of the sports betting of capitalism. It suggests that we all are in the game, but we are playing a Chutes and Ladders version, a Candyland version of what these guys actually know.
It's actually
Love
worse.
that game.
The scariest part is that when we bet on sports, we can actually think about how to get an advantage. You can have analysts, you can use analytics, you can know the players, and you can make a bet that you believe when there's an arbitrage between what the line is and what you think the line should be. And you can feel like you're a part of that control, which is why competitive integrity is such a big deal. In the stock market, there are people doing things around your company that you're investing in you don't have a clue about. You don't know what they do. You don't know how they make money.
Isn't there a level of the stock market that we can't even begin to understand? Like at the top, we don't even know what those people are doing. We're trying to like get crumbs on the table, and there's people that are actually moving markets all over the world that we have no idea about.
And they don't care about they're using you. They're using retail investors to move the market in a way where you're going to lose. Bottom line.
Like the ancient Egyptians moved the stones of the pyramid using Wi-Fi.
Debatable.
So too do the masters of the American economy move around, yes,
But
the
I gotta
fundamentals of our existence.
Trying to
But I
wake
got
people up.
but I got a feeling about Walmart. Just a hunch.
You like the brick
The
and
Walton
mortar,
family
don't you?
just sold like $4 billion worth of stock in Walmart.
Diversification.
I've had Walmart for like 6 months. Been doing well.
By the way, the Waltons, who, of course, are in by virtue of all of their tentacles, the Denver Nuggets, the Colorado Rapids, the Avalanche, the Colorado... Yes. Name a company, and there is some tie
They
to
just bought
sports.
he just bought the Broncos.
Yes, that's right.
With Lewis Hamilton.
Lewis Hamilton owns the Broncos?
He's like a minority owner.
What does that mean?
Very small
Less than a
percentage.
percentage.
Also,
probably.
literally a minority.
I have no money.
Wait,
I got
can
you, Roy. I got you.
I want to do Susie Orman now with Roy, where Roy asks David how he can budget his no money.
I will stretch your dollar more than you do currently.
Hell yeah.
I can cut
Yoga.
some of the fat out of your budget.
All right.
I do that. Do you ever keep track? Do you keep track of your monthly expenses?
I mean, I see bills.
No, but
I
that's-
pay them. That's about it.
So I would encourage you to spend the next 30 days writing down every dollar you spend.
I hate those apps that are like, hey, let's keep track of everything I'm spending here. It's like, no, that's going to stress me out. Just let me do it the way I'm doing it.
But
You got
that's
to
the
get the
point.
data points. You got to get the data points. Otherwise, you end up living in debt. If you have debt, don't you want to get out of debt?
I'm always going to have debt. I got a house to pay off. I'm going to have to end up moving to a new house. That's new debt. I have to get a new car. That's new debt. Okay, net. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so I'm always going to be in debt.
So trying to pay off the debt and trying to find a way to maximize your earnings, which is your salary, and save as much as you can for retirement, these are things you got to be thinking about at your age.
This has been a great audition for David's future show on CNBC.
A squawk. Wow.
The squawker.
Can we move perhaps back to something sports related? I watched the ESPYs last night. I don't know if people are still watching the ESPYs, but there's not really any sports going on right now, except I guess Wimbledon and a few other things. But I actually enjoyed it for the first time in a while, and I enjoyed some of the things that they did during the show.
So the backdrop of the ESPYs, right, is that it is the deadest time of the sports calendar. This is not coincidental that it airs on July 12th on a Wednesday. And historically, they've had all of these Hollywood writers, and they've had a big celebrity host, and it was supposed to be Kevin Hart, and it was supposed to be a room full of WGA unionized employees. And because of the strike, which we'll also talk about, none of that
I
happened.
thought we're talking about that now. I mean, this is the perfect.
But this is all.
Pat McAfee had to do a monologue without. There was no writer. Nobody's writing anything.
What did you guys think of his outfit?
I couldn't pull it off.
You mean giant silver belt buckle?
That's his move.
He loves the collarless undershirt with the blazer on top. Well, I guess
What do
that's
you
what I'm
think
wearing
of
right
his
now.
outfit, Jess?
I love how how Yinzer Pat McAfee is, and I love that he said the word Yinzer on stage at the ESPYs last night. That brought me immense joy, but I always laugh at his outfits because they are so, like, someone on our show said he looks like a magician or something like that in Vegas. I think that was spot on last night. He goes with, like, the sockless thing with, like, suede. I'm sure his clothes cost more than my apartment.
Everyone's doing that now. I'm terrified to pull it off.
I think the sockless thing has come and gone. I think it's no longer like in style. I think we've gone too far into no socks, and now we're bringing back
Tony.
pattern socks.
Tony, at Dan's wedding when you went turtleneck, did you also go?
Yeah,
sockless?
I had no. Well, I had the thin socks on that work into the loafer.
But that was like 2018.
That was its moment.
2019.
19, yeah.
That was the peak of the sockless look.
Yeah.
That was when it peaked,
So I made
and now
it through.
it's plateauing.
So I made it through. I never had to do it.
So when Tucker Carlson and Andrew Tate are both sockless interviewing each other on that video, which I
there
saw.
you go.
Jesus Christ! Oh.
You have to have good definition in your ankles to pull that off.
There could be socks in play. We just may not see them.
Right,
Yeah,
well,
you
I think
can't
that's the
prove they're
thing,
sockless.
yeah.
No, it's not.
If you're
it's
wearing those little
visible
socks that you can't see,
yeah.
then that's
Oh,
sockless.
I
It's
see.
the
I get
sockless
it that
look,
they-
not.
Oh, right.
I don't think people are like raw dogging loafers.
Right.
That would
Some
hurt.
people do.
really
Oh,
bad.
some
that's
people do.
very
Oh.
common. Is to wear
go
that.
on.
That's when I was younger. That is what we did.
Because they hadn't invented those tiny little tight socks yet. The
I
technology on
hate those socks. They like fall off your feet.
No,
Yeah,
you need to
I'm
get
with
you need to
you.
get good
Elastic
ones.
ones,
You
yeah.
need
I
to
hate
get good
those ones that like. There's nothing worse. There is a lot of things worse. In first world problems, there's nothing worse than that feeling of a sock like coming up on your foot.
or like a sleeve sliding up underneath
yeah,
something.
the sock's worse for me.
Which is,
Okay.
again, why you and Pat McAfee both go sleeveless underneath your blazer.
Oh, I'm fully sleeveless right now. I mean, me and Pat McAfee do have a lot in common. Both
I'm
with
realizing
family
this.
from Pittsburgh, both punters in the NFL, both like
We're looking at him
sleeveless,
now. I
collarless
think he pulls
shirts
it off. I
under
mean,
blazers.
Both
belt buckle-
undermining Dan continually,
The belt
professionally.
buckle that's his move. Anytime he's dressing up, he's wearing that type of belt buckle.
Yep.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about the ESPYs has always been the fact that these athletes who are varyingly uncomfortable with being made fun of occasionally get made fun of. Like that like Norm Macdonald to me is the gold standard for that reason. And is that an institution? Lucy, do you know of the Norm Macdonald ESPYs monologue that has been?
Saw it on Twitter a couple days ago. But I knew who Norm Macdonald was. I know that. Don't worry.
But that aspect of it, that aspect of like, of course it's a celebration, but if there's some aspect of a roast, now I'm in. Now I'm interested.
So Ricky Gervais is your favorite host of all time, then, of any award ceremony?
No, because that, I mean, it's
You
a
just
real.
said you love roast.
I love a roast
That
of
doesn't
an
mean
athlete.
that he loves the specific roaster that you're talking about.
Yeah,
though.
Ricky Gervais is a whole.
Well, he's
that's
the
a whole
ultimate
loaded,
roaster.
A loaded potato,
But
loaded baked potato.
Don't you view
stuff.
him as the
He
ultimate
looks like
roaster?
No, but I get your point. What do you like, David? And as an awards show enthusiast,
I like Neil Patrick Harris and the musical numbers that he starts with. What he started, there's a Tonys. He started one of the Tonys with a number that was
All
incredible.
right, I have to agree with David. We should make the ESPYs a musical performance awards show. Everything should be given in song. But like seriously, I don't know if you guys watched any of it. There was like a little
did.
thing about the U.S. Women's National Team at the end that I appreciated. There was a lot of weird like branded ad integration that was a little uncomfortable,
A little ham-handed.
for me to watch. But I
What?
get that that's how they sell ads against these things. But I'm fascinated by what the budget is for the show because they are able to get A-list athletes in every single year, and I know that those people are not attending the show for free, right?
I
mean,
assume
they're-
it's the winners. It's like, hey, you're gonna win, so
we're gonna
wanna
pay you
come?
though to come.
Maybe
gonna win
we'll
an
fly
ESPY?
you here.
I don't believe that's the case. I don't believe the athletes are being paid appearance
You
fees
think they're all
to
going
go to the ESPYs.
just because they
You
got
don't get
invited?
paid to go to the Oscars.
You
or
get paid to go to the
Tonys.
Sports Illustrated Sports Person of the Year awards.
Sure do.
So
They're definitely doing accommodations. Like they're definitely flying you out there and putting you up in a hotel.
I like-
There's got to be something.
I like the
mean,
idea
how do they
that
get them all to go?
I like the idea that some people are getting paid, other people aren't, and they don't know.
I think some people probably are getting paid, and then the other people are going because they want to be seen with the people that are getting paid.
Right. Most of them, I think, don't need to get paid. I'm with you. Like the high end people.
Some people are getting paid.
Some
I
people
think
are
the
happy to be there.
non-sports people are the ones who would get paid. The presenters, someone who's coming in
Like Hassan
to
Minaj.
perform.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what I'm saying. Like,
Oh, but I thought
the
you meant,
budget
like,
for the entire show to get people to like
But
actually
doesn't
be
Hassan
interested in a
Minaj,
sports award.
when he sees the email 3 months ago, hey, the ESPYs want you, isn't that something that's like, oh, that's That's a good. I'll do that. Like,
Did you guys see the most important
don't
ESPY's
know.
news last night?
That Mina's having a baby.
And not just any baby. Maybe the first boy in the Le Batard and Friends network.
wow. Is that official?
It is now.
Wait, are you doing a 50-50 thing here, or you have information? Do you have inside information?
I do.
So you just did a gender
Literal
reveal.
inside information.
You just did a gender reveal live.
She tweeted it.
Oh, so that's not a gender reveal.
Well,
I thought
you
just
said it
tweeted-
was.
I saw the tweet only that said, "Here's me and my date."
It was in the replies.
That's hidden.
Real sickos know. I'm reading all the replies.
I knew for months.
That it was
Don't
a
be
boy.
that guy. The flexer, like I
That's-
saw.
like-
She told me.
Congrats.
Good for you, Pablo. You knew
Congrats,
me as
Mina.
the sex of Mina's baby. Congrats, though.
Held the secret for months.
We love
Thank you. I
Mina.
deserve this applause. Didn't leak it.
I don't think it's right that you should have said what gender. I don't think that's up for us. That's not our news to spread.
I thought you were making a larger commentary about gender being a social construct.
No, I'm actually not making that. I'm saying that when you have a microphone
I know
and
you're
you
not.
have a friend who you're close to, I just think you have to tread carefully. It's her first child.
I've known for 2 years.
So David leans over to me as I am drinking my unsponsored seltzer that has a dog on it, and he points out that this is a mean-looking dog, and it is for the youtube.com/LeBatardFriends audience. But this, Jess, is the issue that we had yesterday. As David is fleeing your dog, Willow, as you brought Willow to work. And this was something that I found to be both hilarious and also rooted, as always, in some sort of trauma that I don't fully grasp the depths of.
I don't like dogs. It doesn't, and you can judge me all you want. I don't like dogs. I had one day I had to watch my 3 kids, and I didn't know what to do with them, and I was alone with them, and I said, "Oh, let's go to a pet store," thinking that it would end with a fish, and it ended with a dog, and I lost a $1,000 bet because I had bet with a friend of mine that I would never repeat, underline, underscore, never have a dog, and I got a dog. And
Wait, you've had a dog before?
yes,
And
Good.
you still don't like dogs?
no.
You could have just said no.
So I didn't know what to do with
No,
the
you
kids.
can't say no. When your kid asks for a
But this
dog,
is-
eventually
but
you
th-
relent.
but
That's the
this-
story of all fathers everywhere across decades.
I haven't yet.
It's what's
Yes.
amazing,
Yes.
though. But, guys, this is what's amazing is that David Sampson, we just did an entire segment about how he is financially disciplined and savvy and is obviously as ruthless a negotiator as any of us have imagined.
I was alone with the kids.
And he
One time.
got dragooned
Literally
into...
the only time you're like the parents in Downton Abbey. They have the kids, they send them off with the nannies. 18 years later, they're like, all right, kid, you're in the will, you inherit the estate. That's it.
David was running away from
So
your dog
mean.
Willow yesterday, by
Is
the way.
that not accurate?
No.
He was walking
You
backwards.
implied that you watched your kids one time.
Alone.
But you unsupervised
That's how most people watch their kids.
with your kids, watching them as they are what? Demanding a dog, and you were just outvoted?
They promised me that they would take care of it and walk it and clean up
Yeah,
all
that's
the
not
crap.
gonna happen.
Classic.
They're liars.
Classic.
Been
They
there.
are liars. And I had the last revenge because the dog was finished with when they were all on vacation.
Don't say them like that.
Not
Finished with?
the dog. Now there's a new dog. Here's the whole problem with my history with dogs. I thought when you get one dog, when it gets old, it passes away, and that's the end of the dog. So it's not an 80-year issue. You've got a 7 to 15-year issue. I was not aware that the rule is that when the first dog dies, the second dog comes.
Well, the only thing that helps you get over grieving the first dog is getting a second dog.
Didn't know that.
There's a hole, an empty hole in your heart when your dog dies.
dog-sized hole.
That only another dog can replace.
So what it means is
But it's
once
still
you buy
there.
one,
It's just smaller.
that's it. In perpetuity. You have
Yeah.
bought a dog that will never die.
Yes. Well, yeah, or like multiple dogs that do die.
Or will never be finished with, as you said.
And the kids don't take care of it, and then they go to college. And they can't
Yep.
take the dog to college.
Correct.
So what are you supposed to do?
So when you were running away from Jess's incredibly adorable dog yesterday, you were not just running away from a predator in this food chain, but also from this
Responsibility.
history that is, in fact, freighted with responsibility.
And I did win one thing at the pet store is it was a no hair dog. The kind of dog
It was
that-
a hairless dog. What kind of dog was it?
it was a poodle. And what they said is that they don't
Hypoallergenic.
it doesn't shed.
It does
it's
not
not
shed.
hairless.
not
It has hair.
There are hairless breeds of dogs that are quite
I'm
interesting.
thinking of
looking.
Austin Powers, the dog that
It's a Sphinx cat, I
Dr.
believe.
Evil had.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a cat. In any case, that was a rule.
All look same.
Super close though.
I don't want
It's a
hair
mammal.
anywhere. Have you ever been to a house where there's dog hair everywhere?
Of
and you
course.
sit on the couch
Of
and
course.
you need a lint
But
brush?
this is, I mean, it's like kids. It's like you walk into somebody who has kids' house, and of course the primary aesthetic is kids.
chaos.
So too is it with dogs and dog hair, as with finger paint and toys and all of that stuff.
We
No, it
vacuum
is-
our house once a day. It's really not a big deal. But I'm actually genuinely shocked, David, because I knew that you didn't like dogs. I didn't know you were afraid of dogs. I didn't know you had like a deathly fear. When you walked in and saw her, you were like, whoa. And I
So-
was like, uh-oh. I did not realize this was deep-seated. And then I thought, he must have never been around a dog his whole life. You know, I could see maybe being afraid if you'd never met a nice dog. But you had a dog, and now I'm just genuinely confused.
It is my recollection that my parents got divorced because the dog that we had when I was a child took a crap in the living room, and my dad yelled at my mom and then left her. That was the story that I was always believed is why they got divorced. I had a dog named Spartacus, who was a Labrador retriever, a big dog that I would snuggle with and cuddle with, and the dog was the cause of my parents' divorce. And since then, I have refused to in any way engage with dogs.
I just want to point out, when I say that something David is doing is rooted in some sort of trauma, I'm usually just guessing. So
that is a factual
that's a real
story.
bullseye.
That's a factual story. Spartacus was the dog's name.
I'm sure that was the finish line on the divorce there.
So
David.
I was told after when I got older, I was assured by both my mother and my father that in fact the dog crapping in the living room had nothing to do with the divorce. However, I still did not believe it because my recollection, and I was 4, was yelling, screaming, doors slamming, and then that's it.
It's really hard for us to fully empathize with you, David.
I don't want it. I don't want
No, no, no,
empathy.
but it-
Kids,
no.
parents are divorced all the time.
No, no,
Do
no.
not.
No, no,
By the
no.
way, I'm
My
divorced
parents
too.
are divorced.
My
Woo,
parents are
mention
divorced.
it.
So I'm not asking for empathy.
Look at me.
It happens.
That's terrible.
I never thought I would play
Don't
that
use it for
sound off
divorce.
of the declaration of my parents are divorced, but nonetheless.
You should go to the penalty box for that.
Whoa, wow.
I'm gonna leave.
Because that's
Guys, all of our
deserve that.
parents are
Finally.
divorced. Dan and Stugotz haven't been here in so long, and they've left us in the custody of Pablo and David.
and it's gone very well until that moment. I
Sure.
just think that
Until the
talking
dog
about-
crashed.
This
Golf
is a very
carts.
serious show, and we are not allowed to use sounders to make inappropriate points. I agree with you 100%, David.
So there is some things going on that I'd like to discuss, and I don't
earn
understand
that.
how in a place of business. What bothered me yesterday, I'm okay with people loving their animals. I have nothing against dogs. I view them, though, as distractions because you were on the couch. I wanted to prepare with you a show, and you're like snuggling and loving
I mean,
on a
look
dog.
at this. This is why it was hard for me to relate to your story of childhood woe because they were playing on youtube.com/lebatard&friends a slideshow of me hanging out with Willow, which was a highlight of my whole week.
And I believe that after the workday, we could have done that.
Yeah, but it's not the same.
Here's the reason I brought her in, though, David. We are in the midst of one of the most historic heat waves in the history of this state, and my dog can't go outside during the day because the pavement is 120 degrees outside where I live. So I thought this would be a great opportunity. Wednesday's Bring Your Dog to Work Day at the Elser to bring her in and get her some socialization time because she's just been cooped up for weeks. While it's been like Miami has broken the record for the heat index like 7 consecutive days. The heat index has been over 108 degrees, and like we are truly suffering here. And no one is suffering more than
Is
my
this
dog.
your first summer in Miami?
This is my 3rd summer in Miami, and I have never experienced heat like this. The first 2 summers I lived here, it has never been this bad.
We used to say that every year. So what's going to happen is that every year you're here, you will say this is the hottest
but
summer.
that is statistically accurate.
Oh, no, I agree.
Because of
around
climate
the
change,
world,
probably.
It is definitely climate change, and we've set records, world records for heat. It's not just Miami, where there's
Texas is also in the middle of a heat wave. It sucks ass, if I may editorialize. So I thought, you know what? We need to pick me up around Meadowlark. We need a little bit of a therapy animal. Lucy said it was the highlight of her day. It was her birthday. Pablo said the highlight of his week. So I figured I'll bring in Willow and everyone will have a good time. I just thought you were going to be like, agnostic towards her. I didn't know that you were going to then run away from her, but then because she's a dog, she chased you and
Why
made
is
the
that?
situation worse. Because she thought you were trying to play with her.
My favorite part about this
By
was that
retreating?
everybody was yelling at David as he was legitimately terrified, retreating.
He was moonwalking.
He was moonwalking, and everyone was yelling at David, dogs sense anxiety. Chill out.
Just
Calm down.
Still.
Stand still.
She'll sniff you and walk away.
Hey, bear.
And David
That's
David
the
is
Ron
a
McGill thing.
NFL cornerback backpedaling.
You wanted me to do the Ron McGill bear to Willow.
That's exactly what you do, Dave.
We
You
wa-
can't turn your back to a dog because they will go after you.
We wanted you to do the Ron McGill,
And sniff you. She's not going to do anything crazy.
become bigger and intimidate your parents' divorce.